Netherite items in Minecraft 1.18 are certainly the best in the game. However, mining it can be time-consuming and dangerous. But don't worry, because you're watching the ultimate Minecraft Netherite mining guide. In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to mine this rare item the fastest and safest ways possible. Before we jump right in, very few of my viewers are actually subscribed, literally less than 1%. So if you enjoy this content, be sure to subscribe to see more of it in the future. So Netherite, or ancient debris, the ore of Netherite, is most found around Y15 in a world. So that basically means mining so that your Y level says 14 actually, because where your head is, which is about this block here, is Y15, and where your feet are is 14. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. So when you find yourself some ancient debris, you basically want to smelt it, and this will turn it into netherite scraps. Now they actually smelt very slow, so something I would suggest doing is cooking them in a blast furnace, so that they'll actually cook at a good speed, and they also take twice as much fuel because they take twice as long to smelt. Now once you have netherite scrap, that's certainly not ancient debris, but in the crafting table if you put down 4 netherite scraps and 4 gold ingots like this, that will give you 1 netherite ingot, which means that you have to find yourself 4 pieces of the ancient debris to get yourself 1 netherite ingot. Now once you have the netherite ingot, all you need is a diamond tool of any type, and let's say we want our sword to be upgraded, we would go to the smithing table, put in the sword over here, and put in the netherite ingot here, combine them like this, and you can see that is now a netherite sword. So you wouldn't just craft it like you would normally, like in the crafting grid or something. You actually just take the netherite ingot and merge it with a diamond tool in the smithing table. Also, if you're wondering how to craft them, the blast furnace is made simply with 3 smooth stone and with 5 iron ingots just like this, and a furnace in the middle that gives you a blast furnace. And the smithing table, which is used to upgrade diamond tools to netherite, is crafted like a crafting table with 4 oak planks and then 2 iron ingots on top, and that gives you the smithing table. Now netherite spawns the exact same way in every single biome in the game, but there certainly are certain biomes that are better to mine in than others. So here is the quick way of what biomes are best and which ones are worst. The warped forest is certainly best because there's no super tough blocks to mine in it, and also it can't actually spawn any hostile mobs, so with your tunnels underground you're never going to run into any piglins or hoglins or things like that. The second best is the nether waste, so just kind of the old nether biome. The reason why this is because again it doesn't really spawn that many hostile mobs. It can spawn some piglins in rarely, but not very much, and again there's no super difficult blocks to break in it. The Soul Sand Valley comes in at number 3 because although it is a nice biome and there's a lot of very soft blocks in it that are easy to break to find netherite under, there are also skeletons and technically ghasts that can spawn here. So when you're mining underground, you could technically run into those, which could certainly cause an issue. Now the Crimson Forest is actually second worst to mine in. The reason why is that the hoglins can spawn here and they're quite dangerous hostile mobs. Also, when you are mining, you're probably not expecting to have a large hog run up behind you and kill you, so it's quite easy to be killed by those if they do spawn in your mines, although there aren't any really difficult blocks to mine in here, so that's kind of a plus. And the worst biome to mine netherite in, and this is not a good biome to mine it in at all, is the basalt deltas. The reason why is that both basalt and blackstone, that spawn quite frequently in this biome, also spawn just like this underground, so you will run into it a lot, and basically if you're trying to mine things out or you're trying to explode it, either of the mining techniques, these really get in the way and basically make the mining incredibly inefficient, so this is just a biome you want to stay away from when trying to mine netherite. So I ran some commands that cleared out all of the non-ore blocks out of this area around where you'd be mining the ancient debris, and you will be running into a lot of gold and a lot of quartz like this, but you will notice even with everything cleared out here, you're seeing very little ancient debris. Why, there's 1 piece there, 1 piece there, you know, let me see, there's 3 there, 3 there, but overall it's very uncommon. However, even with it being this uncommon, you can still get a very good amount of it 2 different ways. So I've actually broken this down into 2 different sections, the best early game way of mining netherite and the best late game way of mining netherite, and which is which may surprise you. So some people will say that mining around Y14, kind of in straight lines, sort of like a strip mine, is the best way, and some people say that beds or TNT is the best way. And actually neither of them are really the best way because they both have pros and cons. Generally, TNT can work, but it just about the same speed as just mining things out, so if you're late game enough that you have a huge amount of TNT, that's not going to be that useful. So we basically just have the bed method and the mining method, and the bed method is actually better early game, and I'll tell you why. All we have to do for the bed method is get ourselves some oak planks, purple wool, and a couple safety items, whereas if we're doing strip mine tunnels, we need huge amounts of pickaxe durability with at least efficiency 2 with netherite, efficiency 2 with diamond, or efficiency 3 with iron, and you really burn through these fast, like maybe 5 minutes, and you've burnt through these very quickly. So you need mending and unbreaking and a whole bunch of enchantments, and if you have that, that's awesome. But if you're early game and don't have all those amazing tools quite yet, but still want some netherite on the tools that you do have, the early game method is best for you. So we're going to start with the early game way of mining netherite, which is with beds. So basically, of course, to get this much wool and wood, you just start a small wool farm, just, get some sheep into a pen and breed them up and get a bunch of wool. Something we're also going to want for safety precautions is oak doors, cobblestone slabs, ladders, and of course fire resistance if you have it, but we're going to assume that we don't. I'm also going to bring a pickaxe with me because we're going to need that a little bit. And I almost forgot, you're also going to want a gold helmet and some basic iron armor if you can. Of course, the better the armor, the safer you're going to be, but some basic iron armor is good enough. And of course, the golden helmet is so that if you run into some piglins, you won't be killed by them. So of course, we're going to go to the best biome we have around to mine in. I do have a warped forest right here, so I'm going to do this. I'm just going to mine a staircase just like this, going down all the way till it's at Y14. Alright, so we're now down at Y14. Also bringing a shovel with you for soul sand or gravel is super nice as well. So the first thing we're going to want to do, if you're on Java Edition, is hold down F3 and press G. That will enable chunk borders. If you're not on Java Edition, you can just skip this step, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to mine forward till we find a chunk border, just like this one here. Then we're going to try and find where the main chunk border is. So you can kind of see there's one here. You can see that goes kind of 4 lines out from there. Now from this chunk border, we're going to count 4 blocks. So this block here, it doesn't actually matter which direction from it, but from the chunk border, we have this block here, then we have 1, 2, and then we have 3, then we have this 4th one here. So now we have these 4 blocks from there. Then we're going to mine 1 more and down. So now there's these 4 blocks of air here. And the reason why we're going to do that is because netherite tends to spawn a lot near chunk borders, and for this first bed method, when we place down the bed here, right at the chunk border, and we explode it from right here, so the bed's explosion will be the most around chunk borders as possible. Now of course, once you're actually down here, you'd actually want this to be at level 14 still, so we can check that we're still at level 14, which is the number on the left there, and we'd actually be, of course, placing it out like this, but once we're here, then what we can do is we can just get our pickaxe and basically mine in a straight line for a bit, just like this. You might even get lucky and find a little bit of the ancient debris here, but of course that's not the main thing. Also, if you run into lava, you can just place down a block like that, and then kind of go like this. A good trick is to mine well ahead of yourself, so you're kind of a large distance, so if you do run into lava like that, it's pretty easy just to block it up, and generally the lava you find will just be 1 block, so it's quite easy to do. And of course, also if you run into some gold, you can actually just use this to craft the netherite later. Anyway, so once we've mined a tunnel out like this, and we have multiple chunk borders here, what we're going to do is we're going to mine down these chunk borders, so of course that one already is, and from here we're just going to mine this way like that. We're going to kind of go over here to the next one, and basically just mine down this one like this, and down this one like that. And we can place down a bed on either one, so we can place down a bed there and a bed there, but do not explode this yet, because I have some extra safety precautions that are really good, especially if this is early game for you. So what you can do is you can place down a cobblestone slab just like that, and then try exploding it. What this will do, this will shield you from more of the explosion, and also it will never put fire where you're standing. So if we right click on that now, you can see we were hurt a little bit. There's no fire where we're standing, as there usually would be. There's even some behind us. And when we do this bed, the same thing will happen again. Now once we've exploded this, what we want to do is put down a second bed. So from where we're standing still, and then of course this is marked out by the slab, we're going to go 1 block over, then 1 block up, and then from here this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll actually know if you did it on this side because it's at the chunk border. Then on here, we'll go like this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then from there, we can put down the beds just on here like this, and on the other side like this. Then we'll go back down here in our kind of our safe little explosion shelter, and we can explode these again, just like that. And we didn't find any ancient debris this time, but it's always good just to take a good look around, and also if you do start on fire like that, be careful to eat, because of course there's no way to put yourself out with water this way. So it's always good just to be aware to break the fire in your path. But anyway, there's no ancient debris here, but that's fine. We can go on to the next area and keep mining it out. And the trick is just to kind of make those blast holes at every single chunk border you find. Now what the ladders and the oak doors are for is oftentimes, in fact I can show this right here, oftentimes when mining you'll run into lava. But the awesome thing about a ladder is it actually blocks lava, so what we can do with this is, let's say we're down here and we're doing some explosions and you have some lava try and land on your head, like let's say there was lava above you. What you can do is you can basically put down a ladder right at your side, because usually both sides wouldn't be exploded. And then from there, if you actually shift right here, the lava will go all the way around you, and then you can kind of mine out of that safely. Same thing with the door, you can place that down and you have like a little safe pocket to be in if there's lava on top of you. So if you don't have any fire resistance potions, having some doors and ladders on you are really safe, but also important way to block lava. You could even use them like this to kind of get rid of lava in your path, and it's kind of a fun thing to do. And I just found some ancient debris there, which is cool, so I'm going to go and mine that. Now I don't think it needs anything super special, although I'm pretty sure it does need to be mined with a diamond pickaxe, so we'll just mine that, and it does take a decent amount of time to mine. I think this is just 2 ancient debris here, but generally you will find about 1 to 3. There might also be some intersecting. Now what's important is, let's say we found 1 ancient debris here. Okay, we're going to mine out the ancient debris, but here's the problem. Let's say we mine this out. Well, there might actually be another ancient debris hidden, so what they can actually do is they can spawn kind of diagonally. So there'd be like 1 here, they'd be kind of blocked up, and there could be like 1 here. So it's always important if you kind of find one like this to mine it, because you can even have 3 diagonally, so you could mine this one and completely miss the other ones that are above it, just like that. Also, once you've been making these explosions for a long time, and you think you want to kind of not keep going in this direction for a long time, what you can do is you can mine this way about 1 or 2 chunks over. So let's see, from there I think that was 1 chunk, so we can go over here till we're about over here. There's our chunk border again, and from there we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to be mining right here. So from here then we can make another tunnel like this, and then we can place our beds again. Although what you can do as well to make this a little bit more efficient, because you'd be exploding kind of 2 beds in the same space because there's the big explosion there, is from here you're going to want to mine out from this. There's 4 blocks there, then we have the chunk border here. Then we're going to mine out another time all the way over here until all the way past here we'll get to another chunk border, and then from there, which is just going to be probably right ahead here, then right from here, there we go, we're going to go again 1, 2, 3, 4, and make your second tunnel here. That'll make it so that you're not mining out any places too much, and you'll have a good chance at ancient debris in your second tunnels. And this is nice just to keep track of where you're mining, so you don't lose your way and not have like a super long tunnel and have a really large walk to get back. Also, it's always good to put down netherrack on the exploded areas so you can mine back through your mining system quite easily instead of having to kind of traverse through large and dangerous explosions like it is right here. And because of these explosions, you'll be getting huge amounts of the netherrack, so that's a really good bonus as well. And if you are on Bedrock Edition and you don't have these chunk borders, what you can do is you can just count 16 blocks between each thing you're doing. So from there, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and that would be the 16th right there. And that's quite easy as well. And then of course on the side tunnels, if you want to make multiple tunnels in parallel, you just go over 32 blocks instead of 16. But either way, you can get yourself a lot of ancient debris this way, and of course you can get yourself these kind of cool mined out spaces as well, and you certainly do find a large amount of the nether quartz as well as the nether gold ore. So if you're looking for gold and quartz, you can get a huge amount of it this way, which is a really big plus. Also, when you're mining through here and you have all these fire bits, you can punch out all the fire and see if there's any ancient debris under them, but the chance of there being that is incredibly small, so that's basically just a waste of time. It's certainly better just to go through here, and if you don't see an ancient debris right away, to not look too much more than a couple seconds around here, because they generally do stick out quite easily to see. One last trick when you're mining with the bed method, which is to store your beds in wool and planks because it's a lot more condensed as beds do not stack. Then you can just bring yourself a crafting table like this, and you can turn in a couple stacks of blocks like that into a whole lot of beds just like this, which makes it about 10 times more efficient for storing the beds, especially since you may not have shulker boxes at this point. It certainly is a really good way of keeping your beds very condensed. Also, if you do want to keep using this bed method late game, no worries, it just is only about 80% as efficient as the next method I'm just about to show. And now for the fastest way of getting ancient debris, which I think is a little bit late game because you need a lot of pickaxes that are probably going to be mending and have at least efficiency 2 and generally unbreaking on them as well. So we're just going to use these efficiency 2 pickaxes because we can. You're also going to want some fire resistance potions. These are going to be instead of the blocks we were using as a safety precaution, because if we drink the fire resistance potions, the fire as well as the lava will have no danger for us. Also, we're going to need some golden carrots or just a decent food source, doesn't have to be golden carrots. And of course we're going to want a nice shovel on us. And although you technically don't need it, it's still a good idea to have some nice armor and also a golden helmet so that you're not attacked by the piglins. And we're going to want to make our way down to Y14 for this as well, as it is still the best level for mining ancient debris. Interestingly enough, we're also going to want to put on chunk borders with F3 plus G. And if you're on Bedrock Edition, no worries, because you can still just do this technique without the specific chunk borders being there. So now that we have the chunk borders here, we're going to drink our fire resistance so that we're safe from lava or fire, find the chunk border, and with our efficiency pickaxe that can instant mine, we're going to mine out all of the area around here, of course being careful for lava, although it's not too important because it's just going to get in our way a bit. We can basically just mine along chunk borders just like this, kind of instant mining. Look, we already found some ancient debris already, and I did not plant that there. I'm actually surprised we found it that quickly. But either way, you're basically going to mine along the chunk borders just like this, because basically the ancient debris does generally spawn the fastest around chunk borders, so mining along it like this is a super quick way of finding ancient debris. We can mine this piece here just like this as well. Again, the only downside of this is the fact that it does take a lot of pickaxe durability, so it's important that you have mending and unbreaking and just good enchantments like that, so that you won't completely destroy all of your pickaxes. But basically, mining along the chunk borders like this is a super quick way of getting yourself tons and tons of ancient debris, just because you can break so many blocks so quickly. You can even try breaking a wider amount of blocks if you want, but generally it's just best to go in a 2x2 tunnel like this because you'll uncover the most. And of course, if you run into kind of a hiccup or something that'll stop you from keeping to mine, just something like this, you can just block it up and keep mining along the other chunk border, kind of branching out along here. The only problem with this method is the fact that you might end up getting lost in this sort of maze that you're creating mining around here like this. So it's always good to remember the way you came from, so you can kind of mine back to it or find your way back to it over here. Maybe mark down the coordinates of where your little mining hub is so that you can find it quite easily. Also, if you did want more netherrack than you can ever believe, then this is a really good method as well. Just make sure that you have a good enough pickaxe to mine it all, a large amount of fire resistance potions of hopefully at least 8 minutes, and a lot of time on your hands to mine out all the netherrack just like this. Although again, this method is actually about 20% faster than the bed method because it does uncover a lot more blocks at a time, and it's kind of easy to see where the chunk border is. Now if you are on Bedrock Edition, you can basically copy this exact same technique, except for instead of looking at chunk borders, what you can just do is you can basically just find a space and just kind of mine it out just like this, just mining out the entire level all around here like this quite easily. And although this is not quite as efficient as it would be in Java Edition, you still will find a lot of ancient debris this way as well, because you're mining the best layers to find it. And of course, you see the layer above you, the layer below you, and the 2 layers that you're mining out. So you actually have a pretty decent amount of vision for every block you break. And look, there's some more ancient debris there as well. So it's actually pretty quick, and literally just in this demonstration, I've already mined up at least 4 ancient debris, which is super awesome. This is certainly the fastest way of getting this amazing item in-game. Now you have ancient debris, and you've smelted it into a netherite ingot. But one question remains, what can you actually do with this item? Don't click away quite yet, because this amazing item has a lot of uses, some of which really are not that well known. For instance, you can make a lodestone, so if you put chiseled stone bricks in a pattern like this, with 1 netherite ingot in the center, that makes a lodestone, and this amazing item, when right-clicked on with a compass, basically charges that compass, as well as giving you an achievement. So basically, that compass will always point towards the lodestone, which is super cool, which means that let's say you have a base that's not at 0, 0, where the compass normally points. What you can do is you can have that lodestone at your base, and then you can have a compass charged to that, so you can go away as as far as you want, and that compass will always point to the coordinates of your base. And of course you can have multiple lodestones with multiple compasses, making that a very, very cool use of netherite. Of course, we all know that we can upgrade our armor and our tools into netherite armor and tools, but you might not know actually how much better that is. Well, we can see by durability that the netherite does have more durability, but as well as that, it also provides more armor points and more knockback protection, which means that if I'm hit by something, instead of being knocked back a good amount, I'll just be knocked back a little bit or basically not knocked back at all, which is really cool. Also, netherite items literally cannot be burnt in lava. We can throw it in lava just like that and it does not sizzle or burn. It literally just goes right there, floating away, and will not burn, which is super cool because of course like a diamond pickaxe or a diamond chestplate will instantly burn. Like let's say you die in lava, all of your items, as long as they don't despawn, will never be burnt up by the lava that you fell in. Also for a pickaxe, it is a bit faster, and you can see the durability is decently more on there as well. 2031 durability with the netherite pickaxe, whereas you can only mine 1561 with the diamond pickaxe. And although the netherite pickaxe isn't that much faster, it still is a really nice upgrade, and of course it does lava proof your tools, and if you're like me and put a lot of time and effort making perfect tools for yourself and maybe even naming them, making them lava proof is a super cool use. And last but not least, if you're incredibly rich, you can actually use netherite ingots to craft netherite blocks just like this. You could even use these to make a beacon base if you have enough of them, and you can even power the beacon with a netherite ingot, although that is a very expensive use of literally the most valuable ingot in the entire game. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the ultimate netherite mining guide. If you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!